Hello and welcome to the Fumbling Gurus podcast. I'm your host, G-Man, and with me is the one true Dolphins fan, Finn.
What up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
We are also, oh, well, we don't have sick today, so we're a man down, but we're going to get through this podcast. It's going to be smooth sailing. We got a lot to talk about today. So, um, I'm going to kick things off today with the news that almost everybody has heard is Henry Ruggs. Um, some really sad stuff happened in the NFL with, uh, DUIs and stuff. Henry Ruggs killed a 23-year-old girl and her dog. He was speeding at 156 miles an hour and was driving while intoxicated. Uh, Never condone this. This is very bad, and it is a stain on the NFL. I think that uh, NFL has policies preventing this, and it just wasn't utilized here. Finn, do you have anything about Henry Ruggs?
Yeah, not much to say. A tragic situation. The NFL has the thing in place that if they call an Uber or Lyft, I believe it is, that they get reimbursed. There's no reason that a guy making millions of dollars should not be able to use Uber or Lyft. He was driving 150 plus mile an hour in a city road. He wasn't even on the interstate. And I don't look, I work in the transportation department here in my area. I read police reports all the time about different accidents. You can't drink, you can't drive, and he was double the limit. It was, I believe, he blew a 0.156 or something like that. He was going 150 plus 2.5 seconds before crashing. The lady was still alive when her vehicle was on fire. She had a dog with her. The Raiders made the right decision. They cut him. They're moving on, and he did it in a state that's not. Look, it's not good when I say this, but he did it in one of the harshest states to do it in. He's going to be looking at a few years of his life in jail if found guilty, which I don't know how you don't. I mean, everything
Yeah,
is pointing it to him, but yeah, not good. Not a good look. Sad, sad day.
yeah, very sad. It saddens me that his bad decision took away the life of somebody else. Um, in brighter news, I just wanted to get that out of the way so we can get the depressing stuff out of the way so we can talk about actual football.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait
Let's
a second. You mean first you introduce us by saying Six not going to be able to join us, and then you also mention about Henry Ruggs? Come on, man. I thought we were an uplifting podcast.
Oh, we are. I mean, listen, he's gonna be back. Not Henry Ruggs, sick stomach. So all is good, all is good. But Derrick Henry, man, what a loss. What a loss. Losing a powerhouse like that is it's gonna be hard to bounce back from. Who's gonna replace him? Is Adrian Peterson the guy? What do you think?
It's not who's going to replace him. That's the wrong way to look at this. Because no one's going to replace Derrick Henry, right? I mean, he was an MVP candidate. He was a beast running the ball. He had the most yards per carry. He had the most yardage. He had the most carries. He had the most yards after contact. It's not about who's going to replace him at the running back department. It's how is the offense going to replace him. I believe that's going to be Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Julio Jones. They're going to become a pass heavier offense. That's how you replace Derrick Henry. You're not going to replace him from the ground game, but you can replace him by throwing the ball more. Trust Ryan Tannehill, and let's see what this Vikings, ugh, this Tennessee Titans offense can do without relying on handing the ball off to the Titan himself, Derrick Henry. And let's not forget, like this dude, it's in some way. I'm not saying it's a blessing by any means. Injuries are bad, and he suffered a pretty serious one. But he's not done for the year. He's done for 8 to 9 weeks. He could be back for playoffs. That, in some ways, it's going to be a fresh Derrick Henry for the playoffs. That's not a bad thing.
No, I don't see how it can be a bad thing. But I mean, they're facing the Rams this week, and is the pass heavy offense going to benefit them with just this switch up that they got to do without Derrick Henry? It's gonna be crazy.
It's going to be something different, and it's going to be interesting how that plays out. Allegedly, there might be more involved in that a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to. Time will tell on that one right there. We'll have our eyes peeled Sunday on that game. In other news, Finn.
Yes, sir.
Finn. No Watson for the Miami Dolphins.
If you guys notice,
No
there's still my
Watson.
Dolphins gear up, and that does mean Deshaun Watson was not traded to the Miami Dolphins. Very exciting. However, there was some news that came out about that, and it almost seems like it's still a done deal. It's just going to happen not today. It's going to happen once this offseason kicks in. That doesn't mean it will. Tua has 10 games, 10 weeks, 9 games, something like that, to prove that he's the guy. And who knows? I mean, there might be another quarterback available. You know, there's rumors that Aaron Rodgers is done with Green Bay. Russell Wilson may be on the trading block. You know, Deshaun Watson's not the only prize.
Well, I was doing a little research for this podcast, and what I found, I know, right? And what I found is that there was a non-disclosure agreement between Watson's legal team and the defense attorneys that fell apart because he wanted to cover up the 22 women that are on him. And I heard that, you know, is that going to affect the people looking to pick him up?
I don't want to sound like I know more than you there. If I'm not mistaken, it was the other way around, that he refused to sign the non-disclosure agreements. He wants it to be like, if I'm signing this over, I want to know that I'm innocent. He seems to be adamant that he's innocent on all of this. So,
well, I think that I might have read the wrong thing.
So that's my understanding.
Yeah, that's probably right. That sounds about right.
Now the trade.
My bad.
The trade deadline did its normal thing, though, and I don't know if we actually wrote down this exactly, but the NFL has the worst trade deadline in all the sports. There's just not a lot of movement. Nobody really sells or buys. A few pieces get traded, usually late round guys, depth guys. Very rarely does a legit starter get traded from one team to the next. The Rams acquired Von Miller. Now, Von Miller is one of the best pass rushers in the NFL history. The dude's a monster. Now he's getting older. But the guy's kind of good. And he goes to a stacked team with the Rams and gets to play next to Aaron Donald. What's your thoughts on that? I'm sorry, I don't mean to just kind of interject there, but I feel like we talked about Watson and we want to talk about the trades there a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about the guy. I'm kind of a noob at football, but that guy, you know, on a team like that, it's gonna be crazy. I hope that he makes his fit there and he's a perfect fit, and they could swing away with that trade.
The Rams are one of the few teams that decide, I don't want to draft guys, right? They're like, hands off. I'm just going to trade all my draft picks for players. You know, they traded 2 first rounds for Matthew Stafford. They traded a 2nd and 3rd round for Von Miller. I don't believe they drafted until like the 4th or 5th round this year. They're like, whatever, I'm good. Now, we'll see how they can balance the books down the road, but they're legit Super Bowl contenders right now, and maybe the best team in the NFC. So that trade, I really like it. I think it adds another dynamic. You can never have enough pass rushers. There's some rumors going on with that where Von Miller wanted some players to pay for a Halloween party. It's kind of a... There's 2 guys that I respect. Adam Beasley, who reports for Pro Football Network, wrote this story about how Von Miller and the front office were kind of at ends because there was a division within the locker room about this Halloween party he threw. However, Benjamin Albright, who covers the Broncos, said, no, that's not true. The front office didn't know. There might have been a schism, but like it wasn't necessarily a schism that truly existed between all players, that it was some players. Possibly. He just like, I don't speak for all players, but the players I spoke to, there was no issues. So, two guys that I respect greatly are on opposite ends of this, so I don't know the real story,
Hmm.
but it is rumored that that might have played into it, which is interesting. And it's also a 1 year rental. The guy's, was never going to re-sign with Denver, so he gets to play 1 year with the Rams and hopefully can win a Super Bowl in that department.
Yeah, heck yeah. Hope he does good on their team. And they can, I guess, not turn it around because they're already up over a lot of the teams in the NFC. But
One loss.
yeah, right. Well, speaking of the NFC, we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers. We got to talk about the loss that the Green Bay Packers suffered this week with Aaron Rodgers testing positive for COVID and potentially missing 2 weeks. Their next two games, one, Kansas City, two, Seattle Seahawks. That's going to hurt, and that's going to hurt bad. I think that the first game against Kansas City, Green Bay won that because of Aaron Rodgers. And I think that it's going to hurt without him for the next 2 weeks. What do you think?
I call Aaron Rodgers the greatest quarterback to ever wear number 12. I have been adamant and have defended this guy and respect this guy and call him maybe the greatest talent to step on a football field. Mahomes is right up there as well. I've always said that if he could play didn't have to sit his first 4 years, that he would have rewritten all the record books. This whole situation is weird. He says that he's got the antibodies or whatever he said, but he said it in a way that made everyone assume that he was vaccinated. He tried to say that he did this alternative method, but the NFL said, no, doesn't work that way. Then he comes out and it's like, well, I'm kind of allergic to an ingredient in the mRNA one, so freedom of choice, I get to do things. He quotes Joe Rogan, he quotes MLK. He does, it's odd, right? His girlfriend, fiance, I'm not entirely sure what she is in his personal life, is I don't want to get political here, but seems to be very much on the spectrum of, I'm going to not do medicine, I'm going to eat clay. That's kind of the joke that I keep seeing around.
Oof.
And so I wonder how much that impacts it. He's kind of has the long hair, the man bun, kind of looks more hippie than he's ever looked before. He had Olivia Munn, now he doesn't. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say, when your first words on a press conference is about Joe Rogan, I question what advice you're getting.
Yeah. I don't know. I just hope that he comes out of this healthy and he's ready to play. That's
you did ask me about the team. You're right. I got on a huge side note. Let me talk about this. Jordan Love, Green Bay fans, sit back.
Who?
Get Jordan Love, man. That's the guy they drafted. Who? They traded up to draft instead of Aaron Rodgers while Aaron Rodgers was on the team. That's why Aaron Rodgers is bad. They traded up with the Dolphins to draft Jordan Love. Jordan Love is their second-year quarterback and is now going to be their starter for the next week at least. You get to see how good is this kid. Are you going to love him or hate him?
You were waiting for that. I hate you so much. Well, I mean, for his sake, I hope he's healthy. Hope he comes back. Kind of sucks, having him gone. I don't think they're gonna win against Kansas City without Aaron Rodgers.
It's tough,
I don't
right?
think that he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna win against the Seattle Seahawks. Love. I don't know. I don't think he wins here.
Kansas
might win in other places.
Kansas City's a mess, but and let's face it, Green Bay's a good team. They got Aaron Jones, they got Devontae Adams, they got some guys on defense, they've got a pretty good offensive line. I mean, this isn't a bad team, but what's their quarterback situation like? And you're going up against Mahomes.
Yeah, it's not a good look. It's not. How do you bet on that? You know,
But then
how do you bet on that?
the Chiefs barely beat the Giants last week.
True. If they can go in there and pull a win out with love and not have Aaron Rodgers, slow clap for them. Slow clap for them. I just I don't see it though. I don't see it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to rely on that running game. Aaron Jones and their oh my goodness, their backup running
Isn't
back they traded to get up in the second round. Not traded, they drafted in the second round. They're gonna have to rely on that tandem and hope that they can get enough production out of Jordan Love.
yeah, I mean Devonte Adams is still out if I'm not
Nope,
mistaken.
he got released
Nope.
on the active roster today. He's good to go.
Oh, sweet. Well, that might help him out a little bit. Cool, cool. Speaking of quarterbackless teams, New Orleans is without Winston, not Watson. I don't know why I said Watson. He's
Winston.
out. They're without Winston, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season with an ACL tear and something else. And there's rumors swirling around that they might pick up Philip Rivers
So
to replace him.
the rumors started because Philip Rivers was asked, and he said that they have not contacted him, but that he would listen.
Mm,
The,
yeah. Do you think that? You think that's true, or do you think that Trevor Seamus? I don't know how to. I don't know how to say that guy's name. I don't know who he is. I know that he's the backup to Winston, but I don't know. I don't know very much about him, and it kind of makes me wonder.
All right, so you've got Tristan Hill, who is their 30-year-old tight end slash backup quarterback. He was hurt. He's just coming back this week. He is active on the roster, but he is coming back from an injury. Trevor Siemian gets the start.
Simeon.
Gets the start this week against the nope, whoever they play, doesn't matter. He gets the start this week.
Yeah.
And he will be the guy that plays at least 1 week, and then Tristan Hill will probably get the start following after that. I would rather have Philip Rivers. The guy's arm kind of died at the end of last year, but that's okay because he's not starting 8 games. He would start 9, after week 9, after week 10. I certainly think that he would be a much better quarterback option than what they currently have. How funny, though, Drew Brees retires and Philip Rivers would take the place. Why is that funny? For those who don't know, Drew Brees was the quarterback of the San Diego Chargers. He was kind of struggling. He didn't really play great. And so they went out and drafted Philip Rivers in the first round. Well, technically Eli Manning. Eli Manning said he wouldn't play for them. They did a quarterback swap. They got Philip Rivers. Giants got Eli Manning. It was a whole ordeal. Anyways, Philip Rivers ends up replacing Drew Brees. Drew Brees has the big shoulder injury, goes to New Orleans, has a Hall of Fame career. The Dolphins selected Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. Not bitter about that. And now Philip Rivers comes back, replaces Drew Brees. That would be great.
That sounds really good.
I hope they do it.
Really
I hope they do it.
I hope they do it too. I hope they do it too. I think that he's coaching a Catholic school's football team.
And after he said that after he's done coaching, he would consider playing for the right team, a contender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think New Orleans is the fit. I think it's the fit, and I think they'd be silly not to. He's just waiting for an offer.
And the Saints have a good team. I mean, and we'll talk about it, but they kind of just beat up on a team, so.
Yeah, well, they're facing your second favorite team, the Atlanta Falcons, this week. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that even if they didn't have them this week, they're still okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. There's something else happening in the NFL. The Browns.
Yeah, it's Odell Beckham's birthday.
Odell Beckham Jr. and on his birthday, no doubt.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, what a birthday present that is. Oh man. Who picks him up? What's going on? I hear that he's going to the waivers. What team in those waivers might have a shot at getting him? I think that Miami's in the top 3 of waivers on the waiver list. Don't know if he fits there, but what do you think?
If I'm the Dolphins, I pick him up in a heartbeat. To be honest, he's going to cost like $1.5 million or something. They restructured his contract. He's going to be a cheap option for 1 year. Then he does not have any more guaranteed money on the back end of his deal. They can cut him and be free. But that's not who I want to see them sign. I would sign him. I'd be happy to see him. I would love to see what Tua can do with him. Keep in mind, I'm still wanting to see more out of Tua. Get him a receiver that can actually stay healthy. I'm looking at you, Devontae Parker. I'm looking at you at Will Fuller. Odell Beckham, an elite talent, but he hasn't shown that since he got traded to Cleveland. And I don't know if it was a coach issue, a quarterback issue, what's going on, but he did not produce. The guy's talented. He's 29 years old today. I would like to see him in Green Bay. I would like to see him in Kansas City. I would like to see him in Baltimore. Give him an elite quarterback, and let's see what he can do.
Does he fall that far? I didn't see those teams in the mix, and I don't think that
Kansas City.
I think that there's
Kansas City has a shot. Kansas City's like 16th or 17th on the waiver wire. I don't think any of these teams that are bad are going to go sign him for a 1-year deal. I think this is a contender team that would want to sign him, or a team that's trying to survive in the wide receiver department, like a Miami team. But I would try it, and I would love to see him with a good quarterback.
if I'm the Eagles, I would try it. I mean, he's a veteran wide receiver. That would help us a lot. And I think that we're 9th in the waivers. I think it's if Washington doesn't pick him up, which I don't think they will, we have a pretty good shot being 9th.
It's just a matter of what your cap room situation looks like. Can you afford him? What do you want to do at wide receiver? What are your long-term goals, right? I find the Eagles, with all that draft capital, me and you spoke off the podcast there, and we talked about it. I would make the move, then in the offseason, try to pull Devontae Adams, and then go heavy after Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
We have the picks.
And you have the core, bolster the wide receiver room if you're looking at a long-term play. But we also don't know if Odell Beckham really is like a Randy Moss, in Oakland, that's going to be traded and play well, or if he's done, right? So I get the hesitation, especially if you're not a team that's a contender this year, because it may just be a 1-year rental.
Yeah, true. I hope for his sake he goes to a good team. I hope that, like you said, he goes to a Green Bay, he goes to a Kansas City, and he turns those teams, especially Kansas City. I hope he goes to Kansas City and he just does phenomenally, turns that team around.
Could you imagine with Mahomes opposite of Tyreek Hill? Oh,
God. You can only imagine.
You can only imagine.
You can only imagine. Well, I'm going to do a very terrible transition, but you know who else could only imagine? The Jets against the Colts. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Finn. I didn't watch it. It was a Jets game. I
got you. I watched the whole thing.
Okay, I didn't watch it. I'm just going to say they did score 30 points at the end against the Colts. Don't know what happened there. What the heck happened, Finn?
First off, biggest news out of that game, Mike White, hurt. Not good. Oof. Zach Wilson, maybe the worst quarterback on that team, and that's not a good look for the rookie that they drafted number 2 overall. Josh Johnson came in, played a pretty good game. However, that defense was atrocious. My boy, Jonathan Taylor, 170-something yards, almost 200 all-purpose yards, if not over 200. 2 touchdowns, including a 75-plus yard touchdown run. Got me like 48 points in fantasy football. That's what I'm talking about. The biggest news for the Eagles is that Carson Wentz played every snap and the blowout win. the Colts are showing that they can beat a bad team. They need to see if they can play a good team. But I want to know what happened in Cincinnati last week? How do they lose to the Jets?
Yeah.
The
How
same
did they
team,
lose to the Jets?
That same team got destroyed.
Yeah. Okay, so you watched it, I didn't. Had Mike White played the entire game, you think they would have had a chance? No?
If Mike White plays the whole game, the Colts might have scored another 14 points, and Jonathan Taylor probably has over 200 yards rushing, and Michael Pittman probably has close to 100 yards receiving and another touchdown. That defense couldn't stop me and you playing. It was just bad. It was bad.
Yeah, that's the Jets. That's why we have our motto: never bet on the Jets.
Yeah, no, but we bet against them, and Sick and I paid the price. I don't know if we're ready to move to there, but I'm just saying a little glimpse into the future.
You never bet on the Jets. You never bet on the Jets. Ever. Even if it's against the Jets, if the Jets are involved, don't bet on them.
We say the same thing about Detroit, and well, all three of us picked them one week.
That is true. Is there anything you'd like to talk about before going into our old picks, Finn?
I don't think so. I think we covered all the big topics. We talked about Odell Beckham. We talked about Aaron Rodgers. We talked about Deshaun Watson. What more else is there? You know, it's not like there's actual games happening.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, old picks. Here we go. Titans won against Titans. Won against
the Indianapolis Colts. I got you, bro.
The Colts. Thank you very much. And that was a one, not even a one score. It was like a 1.5.
Well, it was a 1.5 point spread, but Tennessee was the underdog, and they didn't just cover; they flat out won. It went to overtime. It looked a little scary for a second, but Carson Wentz does what Carson Wentz does, and that is throw one of the worst picks in the NFL. And cost them.
Oof. Yep. And I would like to discuss Dallas, the underdog, win over Minnesota with Sick, but he isn't here, so I'll have to talk about it. We won. We got that ball rolling, and we won. I don't know how, but Dallas, I think they only have one loss on the record. Pretty solid team.
And the Vikings are just a bad team.
They are a bad team.
They're just a bad team. I keep wanting to see them do well, but they're just a bad team.
They are very.
Kirk Cousins,
and then
Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. It should be good, but it's a bad team.
And then let's jump over to my pick, which was my team, the Eagles.
Detroit got their first win of the year. Wait, right? What?
Oh. That's what I was expecting. But when you won the ball 46 times in a game, you get wonders. It was 44-6. That's not what I was expecting.
But they did score, so they basically won. Good job, Detroit.
Right. I don't know what you do with the Lions this year, man.
They may not.
I don't know, man. I was looking at it. I'm like, they fought hard against some teams, but the Eagles aren't that good this year. I hate to say it, but how do you lose that bad? They're 44-6.
They're a team
at home. Lions.
They're a team.
What's going on?
They are a team that they're a mess. They've had some heartbreaking losses, and they've just been blown out, and they're just a mess. I want them to root for them. I feel bad for Detroit fans. They're right there with Miami fans. We don't know what success is, and it's sad. And they have a real shot at going 0-17 to match their 0-16 record. So let's just do it, right? Let's go ahead. We have a 17-game season. Let's just get it out of the way and have an 0-17 team. Come on, Detroit.
Hey, Cleveland did it. Why can't they?
Well, they went 0-16 as well.
Yeah, but it would be 0-17 this year
Yeah,
because they got that extra game tacked on.
correct. Now, I'm gonna cover for Sick real quick since we're talking about picks.
Okay.
He picked Dallas over Minnesota. We talked about that game. Dallas got the dub. Congratulations, Dallas. He chose, like I did, Cincinnati versus the Jets, and I don't know what to say. I was in Orlando this past weekend. Sick and I were at a restaurant watching the game, eating food, and we were looking over at that score in just total disbelief. And then when they ended up taking the lead and flat out winning, we could not believe it. Right after we finally buy into Cincinnati's this real team, they fall to the lowly Jets. Unbelievable. Now, there was a questionable call, but Mike White comes out of the gate, throws for over 400 yards. First guy to ever do that as a first time starter. And just unbelievable performance. Congratulations, Jets. But then you got smoked by the Colts, so kind of congrats. And then he chose the Bucks to beat and to cover the Saints. That's not what happened.
That's not what happened.
That's not what happened.
No.
The Saints, which seem to have the Bucks number, come out of the gate. They go swinging. They punch them around. They beat up on them. Brady throws a pick six, a beautiful pick six, I may add. And okay, I have heard from Bucks fans the officiating was questionable. Well, you know what? Officiating is questionable in every game. Officiating was questionable in the Super Bowl. The officiating was questionable in the Green Bay game. I don't want to hear it from you Bucks fans. I'm sorry. You won a Super Bowl. You move on. You have Brady. I don't ever want to hear you complain about officiating. I made that very clear to my dad. I made it very clear to my uncle. I made it abundantly clear. I don't need to hear about officiating. You have Brady. You get away with things. Now we're going to move on to this game. The Saints were real, even without Winston. Sean Payton, Coach of the Year candidate. I think he wins it.
I'd have to agree. I mean, they to get a win against the Bucks is pretty hard. I mean, it's not an easy feat. I don't, especially with a backup quarterback, because yours is out.
Well,
I don't know how he does it.
and the thing is the Bucks defense isn't great, but it's not the Bucks defense that, I mean, it was the issue, but the Bucks offense. I mean, outside of a couple plays to Mike Evans, I mean, they shut down Chris Godwin. Mike Evans still wasn't his dominant self. Brady kind of looked human. The run game didn't look necessarily great. I mean, they just were outbeat, outplayed, just everything, outcoached. It was a beatdown, and I got to read some text messages. It was kind of fun to see because the Bucks haven't had that since their wall up against, was it the Bears last year? And so we'll see how that plays out. I mean, every team can have a bad game, so it is what it is. But definitely keep an eye on the Saints and how they respond, even without Jameis Winston. And then my picks, I had Cincinnati over the Jets. We talked about that. I told you guys to put it down, bank it, bet your mortgage on this thing. The Carolina Panthers were going to beat the lowly Atlanta Falcons. Sorry, Atlanta, you won a World Series. Congrats, but your football team is garbage. Sam Darnold gets hurt with a concussion. It doesn't even matter. They march right down the field. They win that game. The defense plays great. Sorry, Atlanta, you're garbage. Goodbye.
Garbage, hot garbage.
The Dolphins hung in there with the Bills. Probably the biggest storyline of the game of the week. It was 3-0 going into like mid-third quarter, and the Dolphins' offense was absolute garbage. But the defense hung in there until the offense finally clicks. They score a touchdown. Things start looking up, and I'm going, is Miami going to win this thing? And then the defense goes ahead and lets everybody down, and the next thing you know, the Bills cover, and I get a point.
Wow. I cannot believe it. I was like, doesn't it suck? Doesn't it suck betting against your team and then
the only
losing?
reason it sucks is that Miami doesn't even own their first round pick this year. As a Dolphins fan, I have gotten accustomed to rooting for their losses, get better draft position,
Oh,
and then draft the guy that's the world beater. But no, no, not this year. I get to root against San Francisco.
well, I'm rooting for the Dolphins,
Thank
even
you.
though the Eagles have their first round pick. Someone's got to. All right. Well, we talked about the old pick, and it's out with the old, in with the new.
Well, let's go ahead
I
and get
was,
six pick out of the way if you don't mind.
yeah, that sounds good.
So Sick texted me his picks. I'm not going to go into great detail on his reasoning. I'm just simply going to say it, and I'll give a little background from my understanding. His upset of the week: Giants over the Raiders. With everything going on in Las Vegas, he has decided that the Giants may be able to pull out and sneak out that win over there, and I don't necessarily hate on it.
Nope.
And his lock of the week: Dallas over Denver. He has seen enough out of Dallas that he's a believer, and on a 10-point spread with 10-point favorites, he still says Dallas is going to cover against that Teddy Bridgewater team over in Denver. No problem. And of course, the Bucks are on a bye week, so we don't really get to go into details on that. But those are his two picks.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Listen, I was looking at a team to lock in this week, and like always, I say it every week. It's hard. You're looking at that list. You're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I looked at Dallas, but I did not pick Dallas this time. Those huge spreads, okay? Really big spreads, I love those. And the Bills versus Jacksonville, perfect game for me. I'm locking that in. I think the Bills are going to run all over Jacksonville, and I'm going to get that win. What do you think about that?
Well, I can tell you that I looked at that game. I thought about that game. I almost went with that game. But I couldn't go with that game for one simple reason. I
Why?
would like to see Jacksonville win.
Of course you would.
That's it. That's the
Do you
only
think,
reason.
do you think it's going to happen, though? Do you think
No.
it's going to happen?
No, there's no reason for it. There's no reason the Bills don't win by 23. You know, it's a, what is it, a 14-point spread, you said?
It's a 14.5-point spread.
It's more than 2 touchdowns, but I think they covered with pretty easy. Pretty much no issues.
Pretty easy. Pretty easy. Yeah. All right. So, same thing with my upset. I was looking at the list. Like, I don't see very many teams that I think will upset the other team, but I was looking, and do I see the Cincinnati Bengals being the favorite of the Cleveland Browns? Is that because they lost OBJ? Yes, probably. But I still think the Cleveland Browns upset the Bengals with that 2.5-point spread. What do you think about that?
I don't. I understand.
You don't hate it?
I don't hate it.
Like, I don't know. The Bengals.
They're hot. They're hot and cold,
so
man.
bad.
They're not bad. They're good. They just lost to the Jets.
To the Jets! To the Jets! I don't think that even on Cleveland's worst day are as bad as the Jets.
I don't know.
On an off day.
But they're beat up. Baker Mayfield's dealing with that shoulder injury. Jarvis Landry's trying to come back from his leg injury. Kareem Hunt is still on IR. Nick Chubb is battling back from trying to get healthy from the injury that held him out for a couple weeks.
They have to win by a field goal.
No, they just have to win.
It's a 2.5-point spread.
Doesn't
I thought
matter.
it was a.
Well, keep in mind,
Really?
underdogs, we don't do spreads. They got to win outright.
You got it. You got it. Okay. Crap. Well, I did a lot of thinking, and 44-6 versus the Trash Lions got me thinking a lot about the Chargers. Chargers are a really good team, and I was looking at that spread, and I was shocked. LA Chargers are 1.5-point favorites over the Eagles, and that's it. I'm picking the Eagles. over the Chargers at home. I think they got it. I think there's no reason why we couldn't pull out a win. I think that we got our run game down 46 times running. I don't know. I I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm just gonna choose the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Chargers. Don't have any rhyme or reason other than that's my team.
The Chargers have lost a few in a row. They haven't looked sharp. Justin Herbert's not played great. Austin Eckler has played well, but the other guys, was it Mike Williams has had his ups and downs. Not Kareem. Keenan Allen has not played at the level he's accustomed to playing at. I think their offensive line has kind of struggled lately. There's a lot of question marks, but I wouldn't.
It's
I
gonna
wouldn't.
be a tough. It's good.
I wouldn't be putting money.
You
on
wouldn't
the
do it?
Eagles. Well, I believe it's my turn.
It is your turn.
And I thought long and hard about who am I going to take. And I
hard one.
looked at it and I said, the team that just traded for Von Miller, who just bolstered their offense or defense, who has a healthy quarterback, healthy running backs, healthy wide receivers, going up against the Derrick Henry-less Tennessee. Can we call them Titans without the Titan anymore?
I don't know.
It's a
probably not.
It's a 7. Look, Rams are a 7-point favorite, and you're asking a lot, but that Tennessee defense, that secondary is not great. I think the Rams can throw the ball all over them. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are still kind of nicked up. A.J. Brown was on the injury report. Julio Jones on the injury report. Ryan Tannehill's good. Can he carry the team? He never did it in Miami. Adrian Peterson's not going to carry that team. I'm curious to see how it goes, but I'm willing to bet on the Rams to cover that 7 points. My upset, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I don't have faith that their passing game is going to do them any favors versus the Rams, so I think your lock's pretty safe.
I agree. Now, my upset, I'm a little concerned because there's some injury news out there. DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray may not play. They are game time decisions. But the Arizona Cardinals are a 2-point underdog to San Francisco. I am not a believer in San Francisco. I think they're hot garbage. I have said this from day one. I will continue to say this, and I will preach it until that they are finally hot garbage. Even without those guys, I think that they're a good enough team to beat San Francisco. Please, please, please be healthy. So I have Arizona over San Francisco. And then we get to the hardest decision for me to make.
No argument here.
Miami is playing the lowly Houston Texans. They are bad.
Oh my God.
They are garbage. They are atrocious. But their quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor has thrown 12 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, I believe it is. I do not believe Tyrod Taylor has ever lost to Miami.
Don't do it.
It was pretty funny because all the links are Deshaun Watson to Miami. And when their head coach was asked about Deshaun Watson, he says, my focus is on Miami. Was he talking about the Dolphins or was he talking about the Texans? All I know is that Miami Dolphins better get their happy ending and get that win and beat the Texans. They're a 5.5-point favorite, and I expect them to cover. I expect this to be their breakout game with Tua. I hope over 300 yards, over 3 touchdowns. This is the game. You put up, you shut up. Tua, if you want to be on this Dolphins team, this is the game to prove it. Do not lose to the team that has made your life miserable. Don't do it. Please don't do it. I'm begging you. Miami gets the win. That is what I am picking them to cover the 5.5-point spread. So
I like it. At home, it's do or die for that team. Houston sucks. Miami needs something to prove that they can. I can't say stick in there because Miami, but listen, They need more wins than they got, and this is an easy one for them. It's not a, don't call it a comeback, but this would be a nice win,
100% agree.
and it would be great for Tua. So, yeah. All right. Well, we covered just about everything on our list, Finn. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts is this: if you want your career to end, come to Miami.
And if you're a running back, don't go to the Eagles. That's all I got. All right. Well, we're gonna conclude this podcast. It was fun. Next week we'll have our boy back, the bearded one, Sick Stomach, and can't wait to have him back. Thank you, Finn.
Yep.
So long, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Have a great one. Bye, 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 bye.